Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. All right, instant reaction on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens coming to Los Angeles and beating the Chargers 30-23. I could really be obnoxious. You guys have been banging on Lamar Jackson for so many years. You want to know what Lamar Jackson is after a loss the last 3 seasons? 10-1, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. I mean, there are just certain arguments you just got to give up on. He's really good. Does this count as a big win? This felt like a big game for me. Monday Night Football, John versus Jim Harbaugh. I felt like a kind of a big win. Yeah, I lose track. I'm trying to keep track of all the big wins and not big wins for Lamar Jackson. I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a 2-cigar night. And I like the Chargers. I got friends with the Chargers. But basically, Baltimore is the adult Chargers. Remember a couple years ago, and you're like, the Ravens need more dynamic playmakers. They draft Zay Flowers this offseason. They get Derrick Henry. What do the Chargers need? Probably a more of a star power running back, at least 2 more offensive playmakers. Quentin Johnson can't catch, 3 drops tonight. So like they knew when they let go of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, they knew they were going to be perimeter light. So they wanted to get Quentin Johnson as good as he could possibly be. Nice deep threat, but can't catch. Ladd McConkey, nice slot back, average tight ends. They lost Gerald Everett, to the Bears. So you kind of knew that the Chargers are ahead of schedule. I mean, last year they lost to bad teams. This year the Chargers are 6-0 against losing records, and they're 1-4 against teams with winning records. So that this is what the Chargers are right now. It's a really good football team that is perimeter light. They need 2 more playmakers. And it kind of feels like the Ravens when it was very, very Lamar Jackson reliant. Mark Andrews was great, but you were like, they need 2 more wide receivers. Then they draft eventually Zay Flowers. Then they add Derrick Henry, and you're like, okay, Lamar, it's a little bit like Josh Allen before they got James Cook, the running back, drafted Kincaid first round out of Utah. They keep drafting wide receivers. Now you look at it and you're like, okay, Josh Allen's their best player, but they're not totally Josh Allen reliant. Tonight, Derrick Henry, big run. Zay Flowers, big catches. Zay Flowers is great. You can give him a drag route for 8 yards, turns it into 28. He can beat you over the top. So the Chargers are a little like Josh Allen pre all the weapons and Lamar Jackson pre the weapons. Those teams eventually meet at Kansas City, and you just can't, even if a quarterback's great, Lamar and Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, you can't do it yourself. You can see the interior protection tonight was not good for Justin Herbert. So in the second half, the center guard for, the Chargers getting pushed back and not a lot of separation by the receivers. Ladd McConkey's a twitchy, quick player. He's not a burner, though. So you don't get a lot of separation. Makes Herbert play a more perfect game. Whereas as Zay Flowers, you could dump him something in the flat, something underneath, boom, makes it into a big play. Can also beat guys over the top. So it's just like the Ravens are the grown-up version of the Chargers, who are way ahead of schedule, by the way. The other thing that jumps out to me is that, the Chargers were number 1 in total defense, top 3 in third down defense. So they're great situationally. And yet, what did Lamar do tonight? 3 for 3 on fourth down, 50% on third down, 371 yards, 7.1 yards a play. It's the first quarterback all year that worked the Chargers, Lamar Jackson. And, it's just like so many great golfers played during Tiger Woods' prime. Phil Mickelson's an all-timer. Take out Tiger, he's got 6 more majors, probably, and 9 more tournament wins. So I just think, the quarterbacks to me that jump out in this league, there's about 6 of them. And Lamar and Josh Allen have been sort of marginalized at times because they can't beat Mahomes. Well, good luck. But this felt like a big game, and Lamar was, the centerpiece of it. The other thing is there was a couple of thoughts. Number 1, aggressive works. This game really changed when the Ravens go for it in their own 16, get it, and leads to a touchdown. Aggressive wins. And, I talk about that all the time in sports. If you have the pieces, go for it. They did turn the game around. Secondly, there was a lot, you heard the young media lamenting. Nobody cares about running backs. Running backs aren't getting paid. You know, the top 3 rushers in the NFL right now were all free agents. Teams aggressively went out and got Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. Teams eventually pursued top running backs. They're not going to get top of the market money, but analytics tells you you probably shouldn't sign running backs to a second big contract. That's just analytics. I mean, if you're one of these, these Ivy Leaguers who loves the analytics, part of the analytics is you shouldn't be paying running backs after like a 4th or 5th year in the league. Okay, that's part of analytics. The other thing is, I've said this about Lamar. Don't really compare Lamar Jackson to anybody else. Lamar is an outlier. He's a unicorn. They are going to be a kind of a run-first team in big spots as long as Lamar Jackson is their quarterback. It's no different. If you got a fastball pitcher, that's your out pitch. Don't throw breaking stuff and big at bats in the World Series. Lamar Jackson on big downs with Derrick Henry, run the ball. When they move away from that identity last week or in the playoff game, that's when I worry about Baltimore. Lean on Lamar and Derrick Henry in that offensive line. So right now, running is cool again. Look at the teams that lead the NFL in rushing. Philly, Steelers, Lions, Packers, Ravens. What are they, 43-19, or after tonight, 44-19? And part of this is, again, defenses, linebackers are smaller. Why? Because the game's more about space. Like the NBA game, it's more about space. Linebackers now are faster and smaller. Safeties are faster and smaller. What does that mean? Get powerful run games. So that's the beauty of sports. That's what I love about sports and football. It's very, very cyclical. Running backs were going nowhere. Running backs create the right tempo. Running backs, Detroit's a great example. Running backs' value is often not the big play. It's you have a lead and they kill the clock. Detroit is going to lead 99% of the games they play, including potentially the Super Bowl. What makes Detroit so lethal is that when they get a lead, they can play keep away. They got 2 great backs, and they'll just, with that offensive line, they'll go on an 8-minute drive, 11-play drive. So running backs aren't just about the home run. They're about playing with a lead. And I mean, you start looking at these teams right now. That's why Detroit and Philadelphia could absolutely win the Super Bowl. Stacked rosters, but the ability to lead, yes, hit home runs out of the run game, but basically keep a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen off the field. That's a big component to it. So, with Lamar Jackson, I think sometimes, there was no other Michael Jordan. I mean, Kobe Bryant was like Michael Light, but there was no other Michael. There was no other Charles Barkley. There was no other Kareem. Nobody else had the sky hook down. And I think Lamar Jackson, you just have to take him for what he is. He's the most athletic quarterback I've ever seen. He's wildly entertaining. He is a significantly better passer the last 3 to 4 years than anybody gives him credit for. And once again, he wins a big game. In the AFC, if you're playing Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football and the late window on Fox or CBS, it doesn't matter what network. You're paying those standalone games, could be Amazon. Those are big games. I mean, the idea, this isn't baseball. You got 17 of them in 18 weeks. They're big games, especially when you get to November and December and January. So I never bought into Lamar Jackson's not a big game player. Yes, in the playoffs, he has struggled against the Chiefs. So's Josh Allen. It's the Chiefs. Arguably, if they win 3 straight, nobody's done it in league history. A lot of people lost to Tiger Woods, right? A lot of people lost to Jordan that were great teams. So Lamar tonight, I think these are final stats, 16-22, couple of touchdowns, 177 total yards, and that's what they asked of him. They don't need him to throw 34 times a game. That's not what Baltimore is. I worry about when Baltimore throws over 28 times a game. They get away from their identity. Tonight, ran the ball. Lamar made, as usual, big throws when he had to. Big throw over the top. Great on 3rd down. Perfect on 4th down. Did you know that feeding your lawn regularly builds a stronger, more resilient lawn that naturally crowds out weeds? Scott's Turf Builder products provide a year-round feeding with essential seasonal solutions for your lawn. They have a subscription plan that makes caring for your lawn easier than ever. They put their expertise to work by analyzing the location, size, and condition of your lawn to create a custom plan for your yard, and they'll ship you the right product to apply at the perfect time. It's easy. By answering only a few short questions about your lawn, Scott's experts craft the program that's right for you in your yard. Visit scotts.com to learn more. It's really easy. Feed your lawn. Feed it. If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. It's America's largest injury law firm, and they are there for you. Over 100 offices nationwide. Think about that. More than 1,000 lawyers with over $20 billion, that's a B, $20 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients. Things happen in life unexpectedly. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is really, really easy. Like winning in the NFL is hard. We know that quarterbacking in the NFL is hard. Submitting a claim is easy. You're ever injured? Check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Colin or dial pound law from your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting for you to get a full and fair compensation if there's an unexpected accident in your life. And I've had a few. People will look at the Chargers, and you hear this, Justin Herbert can't win the big game. One of the things I would say is when you watch Justin Herbert, how often are his receivers truly open? He's having to throw them open. And when his pass protection's not great, and in the second half it wasn't as good, I think they're pretty good at tackle. They're not necessarily as good guard, center guard. There's not a lot of separation. And I mean, there was a lot for Lamar Jackson tonight. A lot of it was underneath. But there were open guys. There were a lot of open guys. And Lamar found him. Now, he missed on a couple of sideline routes. He had an open receiver one time. I think it was in the I think it was first half, second quarter, may have been third quarter. Because Lamar's often on the move when he throws, he can miss people. But I don't know how anybody can watch Lamar Jackson and not think he is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Everybody's got different gifts. Everybody's got different gifts in life. I don't care if you're a broadcaster, you work in a hospital, or you're a quarterback. The great ones all have different styles. And I just can't quit Baltimore. Owner, front office, coach, quarterback. They've added playmakers last couple of years. Yeah, I said this today on FS1. I think I feel like there's 4 teams that feel like they should be favorites to win the Super Bowl: Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit, and Philly. But I'm sorry. Baltimore it may be 4A, but it's when you watch Baltimore go on the road, dominate the second half, playmakers all over the place, Derrick Henry icing it. Man, it's hard not to like that organization. This is not a bad night for the Chargers. It's a night of growth for the Chargers. It shows you exactly what they need to beat the best teams. They have got to get 2 more playmakers. And for the record, moving off Keenan Allen was the right move for them. He's perfect for Caleb Williams. He was excellent yesterday against Minnesota, but he was beat up and he was expensive. And they wanted to keep Khalil Mack and Bosa, right? They wanted to keep their rush ends. And they're paying Herbert. I get it. You're trying to create a physical culture. So Harbaugh and the front office guys are like, let's move off their receivers. And that's their weakness. So step 2 next year, I can guarantee you, Quentin Johnson, that's not it. They're going to draft 1, maybe 2 receivers, maybe get 1 in free agency. They'll probably, look to get a little younger at running back. You worry about J.K. Dobbins. He's had a couple of big injuries. I like him a lot, but he's had a couple of big injuries. They'll probably go get another tight end. You can see the plan. And with Jim Harbaugh, you got about 2 more drafts where he's going to have an advantage on the league because coaching at Michigan, they had, looks like a very good draft this year. He's probably got 2 more of those, maybe 3, where he's going to have recruited a majority of the guys he's drafting. It's just a big advantage. It's Bill Belichick's an all-time great coach. Is he spending Saturday watching college football for 14 hours? Because Jim Harbaugh was spending 300 days a year, 340 days a year, recruiting all these kids he's going to draft last year and the next 2 to 3 years. So the Chargers are fine. They're like the 8th grade version. Kansas City's a senior. and then Baltimore's like a junior. And it's like the Chargers are in 8th grade. They haven't gotten into the high school hallway yet. This is step one. They've got moves to make. They'll make them. They're 6-0 against losing teams. They're 1-4 against winning teams. They're Baltimore 3 years ago, 2 years ago. They just got to add some pieces offensively.